What's going on, guys? It's your boy High Life Chronicles, and welcome back to another video. Now, I'm gonna apologize for the little, uh, time I was gone, right? It's been like a month and a half. I'm sorry about that, guys, but if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'll explain exactly why I was gone, okay? Now, today we got a very, very special episode. Probably the most special episode I've ever made since the two Xanax parts, right? This is the Dropout series, part 1 out of 5. We're gonna have 5 parts of this shit, so make sure to stay tuned as these come out for the next couple weeks. I'm gonna be pumping out these Dropout videos because honestly, this time in my life was probably the craziest time I've ever had in my life. Like, you guys don't understand when I say that this time was just another time. Like, it was just like a whole nother like area of expertise in my life. All right, so this story takes place around like I think this day was March 1st of this year, right? I had just turned 18. I was 18 for a couple days at that point, and I was also grounded because a couple weeks before that, I had gotten caught at school with a cart, right? And that was the second time I'd got caught. Trust me, that'll be important for later in the Dropout series, but it's not important in this video. So I got caught with the cart, and I was grounded at this point for a couple weeks now, and I was tweaking, bro. I was not able to hang out with nobody, none of the bitches, none of the homies, right? I was tweaking, right? Because I couldn't hang out with nobody. But it was just me and EJ. Now, if you guys probably remember EJ from the Xanax videos. Yes, that's the same EJ. It was just me and him at work, right? At this time, I worked at a retirement home. I was a server. That's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. I'm gonna be so for real, bro. I got so fucking high at that shit. Anyway, so it was just me and him at this job, a very normal day. There was nothing off about this day yet until this girl, we're gonna call her Sydney, right? This girl I was talking to for a while, and EJ also talked to her at one point. I met her in my drug class. After the second time I got caught, they made me take this drug class. It was called U-Turn. Man, it was the shittiest fucking thing ever, bro. They made me take this drug class. I met Sydney in that drug class, and me and her started talking on Snapchat for a little bit. Now, on this day, she invited me to this party at one of her friends' house, and I was down, but at the same time, I was also grounded, right? So I was pleading with my dad, like I was like, "Dad, like, come on, you gotta let me go." And the fight like got so bad that me and my dad were sending like whole like phone long paragraphs to each other about how we failed in each other's lives, right? And finally, my shift ended, and EJ went home, and I also went home, feeling defeated as fuck. But when I got home, something interesting happened. My dad wasn't home. Like he just wasn't there. And so I got an idea. I was thinking like, you know, let's go. Fuck this shit, bro. I'ma just leave, right? So I get my shit and I go. And then when I get out the door, I see my dad with the dog. And he's like, "Where are you going? Like, where the fuck are you leaving?" And I'm like, "Bro, like, fuck this shit. Like, I'm going to this party. Like, I don't care what you say, because, I was just done with like this dude, right? Like, me and my dad are good now. I'm back at home." But yeah, I ran away. Like, I was just like, fuck this shit, and I just ran away. I ran off, and since I was 18, I'm allowed to like like I'm allowed to just leave home, and he can't call the cops on me, right? I'm fully allowed to go home, or not go home, I guess. I guess I wasn't going home, but so I ran away, and then I pull up to this dude, EJ's house, and another guy was there. We're gonna call him Albert. Now that's his actual nickname that we call him, but that's not his real name. So in these videos, I'm gonna just call him Albert as well. So it was me, EJ, and Albert getting ready to go to this party. And so we found a ride. We got a ride from his brother, I'm pretty sure. And we brought all the alcohol that we had. I think we had like two of those, like, those like margarita mix at like King Supers or like a Julasco or like a Fry's, right? Yeah, those like bottles of margarita mix that have like 15% alcohol in them, that are like massive bottles. Yeah, we got two of those, and we were chugging like kings. We were pre-gaming this shit, bro. We were having a ball. Some about those margarita mix things are just the most chuggable things in the world. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. So we were chugging these margaritas, and we finished one bottle, but we were gonna save the other bottle for when we got there. So I stuffed that bottle in my pants, and we were on the road. And once we got to Sydney's house, we pulled up to the front door, knocked, and it took about like 5 fucking minutes for them to even come to the door and get us, right? That shit pissed me off, by the way. Um, So when Sydney finally opened the door, it wasn't just her. It was her, I think the owner of the house, and then a girl, we're going to call her Baby Daddy Girl. Now, the reason I call her Baby Daddy Girl is because she would not shut the fuck up about her baby daddy. Now, if you don't know what a baby daddy is, it's basically like a sugar daddy, just like not like a 60-year-old. It's like a guy that's probably like 5 or so years older than you. That's like your main fucking hoe, and that just gives you money. At least that's from what I took as a baby daddy. I'm not really sure. But this bitch would not shut up about her baby daddy, and neither would Sydney, which also got me a little confused. Like, what? Like, you was telling me that I was your main hoe, even though you weren't mine, but you was telling me that I was yours. So when I find out that she like had this baby daddy and all this shit, I was like, oh hell nah, bro. I was instantly like kind of like a little unattracted to her, right? So I wasn't really fucking with her at first, right? We'll get to that. But honestly, this night doesn't get crazy from like me and Sydney, right? This night gets crazy from what happened later, but we'll get to that. So me, EJ, and Albert enter into this bitch's house, and we go up to her room and we pull out the margarita mix. And we are again chugging like kings, all of us at this point. We wanted to drink all of it before the rest of the people showed up, so that they didn't, rape our alcohol, right? And Sydney also had a cart and Nick, so I was also feeling blasted to the sky and buzzed on the ground, right? Speaking of a vape, I'm gonna hit my shit right now. Ugh, shit's good. Hey, let me know what flavor y'all got in your hand in the comments. I got mango peach. Let me know. Anyway, so after we finished chugging this alcohol, we're like, it's time to let the other people pull up, right? And I thought this would be like a little, like barely a kickback. Like, I knew this wasn't going to be a party. Like, I don't even know why I said party. I just said that for the YouTube name, right? But I thought this was going to be barely a kickback. And that's not what happened at all. When the people showed up, I swear it was like 20, like almost 20 people that just like walked up in this room. It was like 7 Edgars, like 5 like ratchet bitches, and like a couple other like NPC robots that I didn't speak to the whole night. The only Edgars I remember were the Edgar that wore a cookies beanie, and like of course he did, and the really tall Edgar that had like the best vape I've ever hit. All right. So, we were just chilling in this room with like 20 people, and we decided that we should probably go downstairs in the basement, right? Now, these guys had brought alcohol, but it was like half a bottle of Smirnoff, and I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, bro, you can't pull up to the function with half a bottle of Smirnoff and call that like good. I know we pulled up with only one big bottle of margarita mix, but hey, that's better than half a bottle of shitty Smirnoff. It wasn't even flavored Smirnoff. It was just regular Smirnoff. I was okay. I didn't even take a sip of that shit. At this point, I was feeling really good. I was pretty drunk. I was really high. I was really crossed at this point, honestly. And so we all go downstairs, right? And at this point, I was still not really fucking with Sydney, because of that baby daddy shit. But she was starting to get more warm on EJ. And, if you know EJ, he doesn't really care about, I guess, all that. So they start like whispering back and forth, and I didn't really care because I had a whole nother main bitch at home, right? So they started whispering, and then just out of nowhere, they just started macking. And I was just like, oh, like, interesting, like, I thought this was supposed to be my bitch, but, EJ, like, I didn't mind, because at the end of the day, there was other bitches there, and I'll just go with them. But that is not what happened at all. After they started macking, baby daddy girl was like, well, Sydney, what about Matt? And then I was like, what do you mean, what about me? She just kissed my best friend. Well, one of my best friends. Like, I don't know. What do you mean, what about me? And she was like, you know what? You're right. Matt, do you want to kiss me? And I was just there like flabbergasted. And EJ was even more flabbergasted. He was like, what the fuck? I'm not sharing this bitch with Matt. But one thing led to another, and me and Sydney were macking. And I, my competitive side came out, and I was trying to be competitive with this dude, EJ. Me and her, we're macking, bro. I was grabbing her ass. We were just doing that shit, bro. I was really trying to one-up this motherfucker. But anyway, after that was all said and done, we all went downstairs in the basement, right? Now, this basement had like one of those like L couches with one of the seats that's really fucking big, and then the rest of it's just like a normal couch. Yeah, that's what this was. There was a TV, a treadmill, and like this like large room next to the couch. Like it didn't have a door. Obviously, it was just like another room that was just like a floor and just like nothing else. But that's where we that's where all the like shit happened. Anyway, all of us were feeling really good. All of us were feeling really drunk. It seemed like everyone pre-gamed, so us not really having alcohol wasn't really an issue because everyone already pre-gamed. Everyone was already really fucking drunk. Especially this one bitch. She was blonde. We're gonna call her, I don't know, Kira. We're gonna call her Kira. This bitch Kira was so fucking drunk. She was stumbling around. She was like, talking all slurred. She was touching people, all that shit. You know how drunk bitches be, right? And then like the crazy shit happened. She tripped over the coffee table and face planted right into the TV, which shattered the TV, colors all over. It like dented a hole in the wall. It was a whole thing. And everyone was just sitting there like, no fucking way she just did that shit. Like, when that happened, that is when the night really began. If you're saying that this is a boring ass story at this point, just wait, because as soon as this happened, this is where the night began. After, she broke the fucking TV and shit, like an argument started with the owner of the house and Kira, right? They were going back and forth, beefing, like, the owner of the house was saying, hey, fuck, you need to pay for that shit, and, Kira was saying it wasn't even my fault, it was the coffee tables, and everyone was like, what the fuck, that was obviously your fault, bro, what do you mean? And after that, this other bitch, started, chiming in. It was Kira's friend. She was Asian and fat. What was her name? I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just call her, I don't know. I'll just call her Chardonnay, the wine. Because she reminds me of Chardonnay. The shittiest wine possible. I'm sorry if you like Chardonnay, but Chardonnay just tastes like straight, ant piss, bro. I will never drink Chardonnay again. Anyway, her name was Chardonnay. And she kind of inserted herself, and now it's like a 2v1. So then Sydney decides to pipe in. So now it was a 2v2. And at this point, Kira and the owner of the house had kind of just stopped beefing because they realized she broke a TV, but it wasn't as serious to start a fight. And everyone was kind of drunk and they didn't really want to beef, right? But Sydney and Chardonnay were definitely with the beef, right? And, a lot of yelling and arguing and back and forth. And then eventually Chardonnay and Sydney just started fucking fighting. Pulling each other's hair, punching each other, all that shit. and eventually, like after like 2 minutes, like a clump of hair like came out of Sydney's head, like they were done, and like just a clump of hairs came out of her head. And like, yeah, like Sydney was like crying. She was like dead. She had like scratch marks on her face, blood, like her nose was bleeding, like all that shit. And Chardonnay was untouched. Cause that's probably because she was a fat bitch. Like she had the advantage, man. She was a fat bitch. Anyway, after all that happened, meanwhile, Albert was upstairs catching a goldfish in a mug. I wasn't there for that, but I had just heard from EJ that Albert had grabbed like a mug or something and like caught a goldfish in it and like showed everyone. I don't really know. I don't remember that happening, but apparently that happened. And after that, Albert comes downstairs and sees the madness, right? Or I guess it was upstairs. I'm not really sure. He sees the madness, right? Everyone had their phones out. All the Edgars were filming this shit. You know, all the Edgars were going like, bro, you know how Edgars be, right? Um, After all that happened, Albert saw his opportunity and saw Chardonnay's keys on the floor. Now, what you gotta know about Chardonnay and Gira is that they lived in Breckenridge. Now, I'm not gonna say what city I live in, obviously, but I live like in the Denver area. Like I live within like a 50-mile circle within Denver, right? Hopefully that's close enough for you to understand where I kind of like am, right? But these bitches lived in Breckenridge. Now, if you live in Colorado, you know how fucking far Breckenridge is from Denver. It's like a 2-hour drive. Like, it's in the mountains, bro. So these bitches were like 2 hours away, and Albert like nabbed their keys and hid them in the bathroom. He hid the keys in the bathroom, and these bitches were just like, they realized their keys were gone, and they were searching the entire house, like messing up the entire house. They even started searching us, like patting us down. They patted my dick down, bro. Like, they're just patting all of us down, thinking that we stole their keys. I'm like, what am I gonna do with your keys? Like, I don't want your shitty ass fucking Kia. Like, that's probably what they had, bro. Knowing them, they probably had some shitty ass Kia. I don't want your stupid ass Kia. Anyway, but you gotta know, like, Albert did not tell me or EJ that he did this. So me and EJ were also just, like, very confused. Like, where this bitch's keys went. The reason Albert didn't tell us is that just in case if we felt bad for them, he didn't want us to tell them. And honestly, towards the end, I probably would have told them because I felt really fucking bad. Right? So eventually these bitches just give up on looking for their keys, and then we just try to enjoy the rest of the night. We all go into that other extra room and we start playing Spin the Bottle. Now, EJ, macked on Mia again, I macked on Mia again, and then I spun the bottle again and it landed on Chardonnay. And I was like, and I literally just said, like, straight up, like, no, I'm good. And that ended the game. Like when I said that, like, that just ended the game, right? So we were done with that. These bitches went to they went to the gas station, I think, and they stole more alcohol. So now we had more alcohol. I think they stole like seltzers or some shit. So I had like a couple seltzers. A couple seltzers didn't really do much for me, but hey, alcohol is alcohol. So wasn't really complaining. After that, the night was starting to kind of die down. Like, it was like 1 a.m., like 2 a.m. So the Edgars had to leave. The Ratchet bitches had to leave. Eventually, EJ and Albert had to leave. They wanted me to come with them, and I wanted to come too. But then Sydney just would not let me leave. She was like, either you or EJ stays. And EJ was like, fuck this, bro. I'm out of here, bro. And so we did rock, paper, scissors. And EJ had to be the one to leave. And I was like, oh, fuck this, bro. Like, I did not want to spend the night with Sydney after what I just witnessed her do, right? So I was with Sydney. We were just on the couch, just macking, chilling. And eventually we fell asleep together, right? And apparently while I was asleep, she just gave me like a whole necklace of just hickeys. So when I woke up, like, bro, like I literally just had like 6 or 7 hickeys on my neck. It was fucking insane. That shit hurt, bro. She left a mark on me, bro. Anyway, so after she left them hickeys, I decided to go. Like, I ordered my Uber, and at this point, it was only me, Sydney, and baby daddy girl, right? Chardonnay and Kira had left a few hours before that because they got kicked out because they were, again, still trying to search the house for their fucking keys. So the owner of the house kicked them out. So when I go outside to get my Uber, I find that these bitches were just sitting on the side of the road on a curb waiting, like they were just like crying, like on the phone, like waiting for someone to get them. And that is when I felt bad. Like that's when I was like, damn, like these bitches are just 2 hours away from their crib, from Breckenridge, and they don't have a car. Like they're just fucked. I'm like, damn. And also, lesson learned from this story, you should probably have a spare key. I'ma be real. Anyway, that's the end of the story, because after that I got on my Uber and went home and had the best nap of my life. But the problem is that, well, I didn't live at my house anymore because I got kicked out. Like, my dad told me to never come back. So I just went back to EJ's crib, and that's where I was honestly living for the rest of the Dropout series. There was a couple nights where I was other places, but for the majority of the Dropout series, that's where I was. And I think I was gone. I think I was kicked out for like 2 weeks. Yeah, something like that. I was like kicked out for like 2 weeks. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed that video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, man. I'm the most underrated YouTube channel ever. And man, if you enjoyed this video, holy shit, this is the longest video I've ever made. So just try to appreciate my effort on this shit. We're at 22 minutes here. Before that, my longest video was 15 minutes, and it was that drug tier list. So we're really trying to get these long videos out, right? I was getting some complaints that my videos were too short. I didn't really tell the whole story. So this time I really went into depth into the story. I got you guys. I love you guys, man. You guys are my everything. Anyway, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that shit. Grab your bong, your bowl, your pipe, your joint, your blunt, your cart, I don't even know what you got in your hand. Just grab it. Take a hit of it with me as we go. Peace out. Alright, guys, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out, gang.